What's going on? It's Justeeni here, and today we've got some more Guess the Elo. This time Zabasi versus Simanti on a small Conti. I think I might see where this one's going. Excited. Let's get right into things. So, opening seems fine. Going into the center, there are resource indicators here, but you don't have to find your village right away if you're going for Filler Rush, so this is all fine. You do see Simanti terrain right away, but it is continent, so they might not be connected, and it looks like the Explorer Runes confirms it. Looks like there was no village there anyway, and yep. Meditation Filler Rush. Filler Rush is actually, it makes even more sense when your villages are spaced out like this, because going into like ecotechs, like hunting, like is actually surprisingly slow here. So meditation is actually quite nice in that sense. So you get hunting, upgrade. And yeah, we do not have Philo yet. Could we have gone Philo precap? We could have gone Philo precap, and I think it is actually worth it just because the tech prices. The tech price of Philo is going to go up by 3, instead you get hunting. So the way that it's going to work, it's a little complicated. So if you get hunting right now, then Philo goes up 3, and you get 2 more star per turn from upgrading. So, but then if you get Philo instead, hunting actually goes down 1. So you actually save a star on hunting. So I think you actually save 2 stars, plus the tech prices later down the road are going to be cheaper, assuming you do get Philo later, which you absolutely should. If you get meditation, generally, like if you get like a meditation rune or something on Conti, Philo is generally just going to be worth it, even if it costs like 13 or 16 stars. Not only for mindbenders, but the tech discount will pay off in those kinds of situations, even if it is a little pricier. So I would say it is, like all that to say, it is worth getting Philo here first and then hunting later. Especially since it is Conti, we don't have to like spam units or get our eco up right now. But instead we're getting fishing. We're not going for Philo, which again, I think is a little questionable. Like it makes sense to get our eco first until you remember we are on Conti and we can actually afford to be a little slow for long-term benefits. This port spot is just not good, though this was done just to upgrade, which again, I feel like we would have been better off getting Philo than fishing and org, and it would have been better. But I mean, with the situation we're at, we do need to use a port. I would prefer using the port here because then we keep our bridge spots, which we have a ton of, by the way, which will be super nice. But let's see what else happens here. So we should be getting Altar Piece this turn, which we place here. We could get Forestry to get a Giant here, or Border Growth. Or actually, no, we could still pop Growth. We can just use, hold on, if I'm not mistaken, Altar Piece, so that's 3. Then we port for 4, then port here, and that's going to be 5, 6. So that's one way we could do it. We could also, again, still Border Growth if we want to get a good market spot, which I think is not a bad idea, because we can get a level 4 windmill, which then that's a pretty juicy market. Or we can get one like windmill market here as well. You know, it's not a bad idea. Though we haven't gone Phil, but you know, it's Conti, long-term benefits are worth considering, yada yada. All to say, I don't agree with this Altar Piece placement. It is better in the short term. Maybe there's some long-term ideas here that I'm not seeing, but I feel like we are better off getting the Giant. We can just place our Park of Fortune here, so in terms of like development, I guess it's all the same long-term, so might as well get the Giant first. Because when we get the port, which they were planning on doing anyway, we could have just gotten the Giant, like where there were 3 pop off. I mean, now only 2, though we do get Border Growth, which again, I think Border Growth is actually fine, but imagine we got Border Growth and our Giant, and then placed our Park of Fortune there. It would have been a much better sequencing. It achieves the same exact long-term result, but it's better in the short term. Now we get Philo, which again, it's not bad to get Philo at this point. We should have gotten it earlier when it costed 7 stars. But it's never too late. We're still not under any pressure, and there's not too much of an incentive to really pick up anything else, so it's completely fine to pick up Philo here. So I will say, like, this isn't very, like, it's definitely not optimally played. There's a lot of mistakes and all. So this definitely isn't very high ELO, but they're doing funny Philo, so I can't be mad. We get organization, makes sense. Can level things up in the right order. Yeah, it's a bit, again, this is the issue, like why we should have placed our altar piece on our capital. And I'd say generally when you are going for like meditation rush, whatever tribe you're doing it with, because you can actually do this with any turn 0 tribe. You can even do it with the same anti, sometimes non-turn 0 tribe if you get like a star runes or something. You generally want to place altar piece in your capital because otherwise you might struggle to get that giant at a reasonable pace, because if you're also picking up philosophy, you're not really committing to the giant. Normally, like getting a fast giant with like a turn 0, use roads to do that, which you need a good economy for, and all. Basically it's going to take a while unless you just have the resources right there, or you put the altar piece there and kind of solve all your problems. And this is kind of really showing, because when is the giant happening? We're getting riding here. I suppose that is fine, because we do need to play around them getting algae, because they could do that at any moment. They already have fishing and pesketism because of the Reichi, so we do need a defense setup. It's absolutely fair to just spam units. Do they need to spam like exactly this many? It's fine to be safe though. This is a live game, so you can't calculate things out perfectly. And it's better to be safe than sorry. They just send the Reichi to die, so... Oh! They're doing it for the algae. Interesting. I don't know if I agree with that play, because that algae is not actually going to pay off. At least not right now. Maybe later it does something. Border growth here. I think the idea is to take algae and possible like Lathyrus from Zymanti, because that's really all it does. I think the Park of Fortune alone already kind of serves that purpose, so we don't know if we need to border growth on top of that. Plus they can still use Reichi to get the algae anyway. I guess we do have the market spot. I'm questioning if we actually need border growth here, though. Maybe. There's a lot to say, so I'm just gonna say, you know what, it's fine. Like, maybe it's actually the right play, maybe it's not. Like, there's lots of arguments for either side, and I don't want this video to take 10 years to make. Mindbender, absolutely. This is just a really good Mindbender. It's going to heal these riders amazingly. Mindbender is also just generally good against Zymanti, because Zymanti lacks knights to counter, and they just synergize with riders, which already do well into Zymanti. Zymanti is going for the sieges, which they do seem good because they're denying economy. But one thing that Zymanti is not considering here that they should be considering is, even though this one's actually a neutral star trade, this one is a positive star trade, but only by 1. But if it's a positive 1-star trade, well, what's the downside here? It's the gate of power progress, because this is something, it's really hard to quantify how much this is worth. But I would say that 1 kill is probably worth more than 1 star. And because that progress does mean, like, it is a full monument when you get the 10 kills. So you wouldn't consider a monument to only be worth 10 stars. So, and then sieging this 3-star city is even worse, because that's not even a positive star trade, and you give them a free kill, which you don't really want to be doing. If they already have Gate of Power, then yeah, go for the positive star trade, so long as you have the units to justify it, because even then there are still costs. But Polytopia is a complicated game like that. Free Spirit, oh, we're doing that to disband the warriors. That's actually fair, because it makes unit space, so that's actually a good time to buy Free Spirit. It's one of the rare moments where buying it before Knights actually makes sense. Now, nice Mindbender trap there, that's just beautiful. Like, advancing with the Mindbender like that to allow our riders to go forward, I suppose it does push Zymanti back, so there are absolutely benefits of doing it like that. So this is actually really solid micro. And the road placements are pretty good. I know, like, you see like this, but there is a justification to reach this algae. Like, the road placements all do make sense, and they're placed logically. So yeah, this is actually, other than the early game was pretty iffy. Oh my goodness, giant push. Oh, that's beautiful. Wow, that's amazing. Okay. See, if I would just have looked at the early game, I might have said like 1200 or so because they executed the opening not so well in my opinion, because they bought Philo quite late. They did end up buying it even despite it being late, which, you know, at least they did get it. They recognized it was still worth it even if it was expensive. But they definitely, like, it's very interesting because eco-wise they were actually pretty suboptimal, but micro-wise they were actually quite good. The Mindbender use was phenomenal. Really good, recognizing how strong they are against Imanti. Rider Micro was just good. Not overextending for no reason. And just, yeah, just overall well played. But again, the early game. So I'm kind of like torn, like, is this like 1300? Is this like 1600? And maybe they're just trying to get familiar with the opening and made some really silly mistakes? Or maybe somewhere in between. I'm gonna say somewhere in between. I'm gonna say 1400, just 1400 on the dot. Let's see if I'm right. Okay, so they were the higher ELO, just misplaying the opening. So I guess I was kind of close, but at the end of the day, I still guessed 200 off. I'll go cut to the next game though. Okay, so this next game, oh, it's Leon. I will hopefully remember to plug his channel in the description. I've been very forgetful with like doing this stuff, but if I do forget, someone remind me. Hopefully I don't forget though. But yeah, Leon is a fellow Polytuber. I do not know what his ELO would have been as of submitting this. I actually don't even know what his ELO is right now, so I'm actually kind of in the dark here. Like, I have some idea, maybe, but I'm not fully sure. But they are playing Omaji. This is a 24-hour game. Is there anything crazy here? This exploration, I mean, it's not bad because, like, you can only explore 2 valid tiles. You might as well cover this, so it looks like it might be suboptimal, but it's not. This, also same deal, actually, because this can't be a village tile. So this exploration actually, like, it looks kind of awkward, but it is actually fine. I'm questioning this though. I don't think we should be getting there early explore, especially since we can get a quick level 3. I'd rather workshop, go into the double rider opening, and then upgrade this city, then upgrades third city. Because you'll only have 4-star per, oh wait, you would only have 5-star per turn if you workshopped. Maybe that's why they did it. I still think it would be better to have 5-star per turn because when are you getting your next rider? Also, they go for ruin here. I disagree. Actually, they're gambling for pop. I can actually see the justification here because they're getting this village anyway. But then again, they want to get to this village sooner too, and they want their units in the game, so maybe it is actually better. Once again, really complicated situation actually. Like, I know it seems like a simple decision, but I'm wondering if, like, again, maybe you secure these later and maybe you're just trying to ride around your capital to reach the ruin and then go for the lighthouse, something like that. Totally different path, but maybe the early ruins is more valuable. I don't know. I'm not the best player in the world in the game, and imperfect information is hard to work with. We do get a warrior here. We don't see them, and even if we do, I'd rather just make a rider in the back and just another rider. Like, if they siege, it's not the end of the world. Farming, pre-cap, we do get a giant off of it, but we also get a giant off of roads anyway. We can get 6 population here. We've got 1 from the lighthouse, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I almost always say, like, again, your default with Omaji should actually be to get roads before farming. even post-road nerf where roads are expensive, it's still worth getting them before. Because otherwise, when you get the roads and connect your cities, you'll be left with some hanging population. Plus, that mobility is surprisingly useful early on. Like, if you ever played Yadek, you will find roads are actually quite good in the early game. Even though they are kind of expensive, they're still just generally useful. Looks like a misclick there, accidentally dodging the lighthouse. Now we meet Hoodrick, and now we wish we had roads, because we could just slam 2 roads down and deny them this city no problem. And we'd have a great time. But we cannot do that. We lack a lot of versatility when we pass up roads like that. That's the big thing we lose out on. Like, we kind of go all in on eco, which isn't something you really want to do with Omaji. Like, yeah, you can out-eco the opponent and, like, out-expand them, but it's a lot easier to, again, be able to, like, maybe directly pressure the opponent if you want to. It's a lot harder to pressure the opponent when you're just trying to throw riders into them, especially Hoodrick, who has archers. But if you have roads, then you've actually got a pretty good chance of just being able to go in and attack, and roads still levels up everything you need to. Like, yeah, you're going to be able to get some level 3s, but you're giving Hoodrick a lot of time here as well. I guess we'll see. Because right now, Hoodrick is quite vulnerable, but you're not in a position to attack them. Soon they're going to get math. They're going to giant spam like crazy, and Omaji is notoriously weak against giants. And this is where getting farming as opposed to roads can be an issue, though we do get bailed out by a Star Ruin. We should definitely be getting road pre-cap. I would say don't even bother developing your economy. Like right now, just get roads. Like, get that deal sealed so we can ensure that we just win this. Because again, we should be winning this village easily. They just don't have the means of competing for this at all. But we don't have roads, so it's easier. It's not only easier said than done, but they might just flat out say, no, we're getting a giant and then stealing it. Because if we take too long to get it, that's what's going to happen. They're going to get the giant. They only need 2 lumber huts and a sawmill here because it's level 3 already. And then if they like plop their monument somewhere else, like maybe they get a giant on the front lines, like we could be facing some serious problems. Like right now, not really much. Hoodrick's, again, wow, lots of level 1s actually. They're off to a terrible start. So we might just be never punished here, and I might sound like an idiot because like, oh, like Hoodrick doesn't end up doing any of the things that I'm saying, and you're being overly concerned. No, the Hoodrick player just sucks at the game. That's what would be happening in that case. Like, if they play well, then maybe they actually like do that stuff and get some counterplay. Definitely explore here. Workshop. No. We don't get Eye of God, but the vision is very useful because we are missing some potential context. I know that there are no villages here, but like potential units, there are things to fight over here. So I would say get some explorers, like especially like because Omashi really relies on that vision to make a lot of their decisions. Settling here is just giving them a free kill. This just isn't worth it in the slightest. Now we finally get roads. I don't like this application of roads though, because yes, we are pressuring them, which is generally good, but this is a rather expensive pressure because we're giving up this warrior here. Had we instead maybe used like 2 riders and a warrior, I could get behind that because then we're only sacrificing 1 warrior to attack. And in that case, that's actually fine. But we're giving them 2 kills, which might help them get Gate of Power, especially we're giving them 3 kills this turn alone. And that might actually, because usually the point of pressuring like this would be to slow them down, but if we actually just give them progress towards Gate of Power too much, we actually accidentally slow ourselves down and speed them up. They kill with the warrior here, very bad idea. Now, if you play this correctly, you just win the city. Now, yeah, they border growth, I guess it's the same difference. They're getting the giant there, they're Proc Fortuning. They double giant here, so yeah, a bit slower than expected. It's turn 12, and they got their first giants way later than Omaji, but road placement here, I don't know what we're doing with this. Is there, I'm trying to think, is there any world where we actually prefer the road being here as opposed to just right here? Like, what additional benefit does this specific road placement have that we actually care about. Because like the one benefit it has is we can place a road here to go to here. But why? Why do we want... No, we'd rather go to like here. The city's not particularly vulnerable. So yeah, I don't understand why we're just placing it here. It doesn't make sense to me. The other road placements, on the other hand, are fine. Let's see, yeah, that road connection is fine. That's like why you place the road here as well. But what you could actually do, and I think this might be better, is place the road here, 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 and here. One more road to connect, yes, but this city can now more easily, I'll use a different color for this, can more easily support here. You do need to connect these possibly at some point. I guess you don't have to, but it would be nice to, so then these cities can also support here more easily, which is another benefit of this road. So you get some really nice connection this way. Look at how satisfying it looks. This doesn't really do any of that. And therefore, yeah, also this city, I guess it can still support this city like all the same, but this one, it can support, I believe, actually no, it's also the same rate. So these ones, it actually doesn't affect anything. It's the same route. But for these, it does actually matter, and it is relevant. So yeah, it is one more road, but I would say it is ultimately worth spending that one more road. We can afford to do so. And also like the roads here, like these are just better because then we can road here, here, and here. Like I'll draw that out. So like it would look like this, which means we have a perfectly straight line, and we also save a road connecting here if we so desire, which is also nice. So in the end, we actually, I think, connect for the exact same amount of roads, just slightly better. That's road optimization for you folks. Which, I mean, it's not the easiest to see. You basically have to completely because like you're probably just tunnel vision now on this idea. You basically have to completely scrap what you're doing here and then totally change, which is not easy to do. But yeah, Hoodrick is gonna try and mount a counteroffensive. They're gonna be able to get quite a few giants, which is a concern. Do I know this opponent? No, I do not. This is some random opponent. I'm glad I don't know this opponent because they didn't develop particularly fast. So now at this point, this is something you do have to face as Omaji. When they have a lot of giants like this, what do? The answer is pressure where there are not giants and force them to spread out their giants. What you don't want to happen is for them to be able to combine all their giants in one area and attack and steal the city. If that happens, you're kind of screwed. Especially since Hoodrick can like support them so well, and you can't really trade giants well into Hoodrick since they've got the defense bonuses and the archers and the catapults. But if you force them to space out their giants, they can't really use them aggressively. So going for a siege like this, not only is it just tactically good, but also it makes sense for achieving our goals of forcing them to spread out and play more defensively, because we don't want them to attack into us. We're a little vulnerable to that. But if we attack into them, we force them to play defense. Because now if they attack into us, we're just going to steal, like, yeah, they might steal a city, but then we just steal like 2 back, and then we say hello to their capital maybe even at that point, or start like attacking from different angles. They have to acknowledge that we are attacking them, and they have to defend, basically. Free Spirit here is terrible. Why are we buying Free Spirit? I don't even need to say anything. Like, let's just not. Warrior here is just bad. If you have to chop for an archer, chop for an archer. This is just bad defense from Hoodrick. But at some point, I guess we're going to get knights. That's not actually a bad plan. I still think cloaks might be better. That's usually my go-to with Omaji. Knights tend to be overpriced, especially for a tribe that their eco is not terrible, but they tend to expand a lot, so it's not the most practical to go for knights. But cloaks are the same price, but they're more cost efficient overall. Knights are usually better in like those late game battles when you already have a good setup. That rider sacrifice was just pointless. But yeah, Hoodric's gonna get a lot of giants. And again, they have a weak point, which we need to force them to acknowledge. Ideally, we want to send a giant to that weak point, which, yes, that's less giants to defend, but again, they have to acknowledge it. They have to defend. Your giant. Killing this archer is good. The archers are going to be very annoying. Retreating here. I don't think there's a good spot to retreat. Actually, no, you could retreat up here. Yes, the giant can kill, but you could line up your own giant to then counterattack. You don't want to retreat here on the forest where they would then kill with a defense bonus, but... Wait, do we actually get strategy? Is that from a ruin, or...? Because we bought Shiv. I like totally missed that. Oh, they already have a strat. They already have strategy here. Okay. They got it from a ruin, which now you can get knights and cloaks. Should just be winning. Knights first. They don't have enough archers to justify it. I would actually get diplomacy first. Like, why not get cloaks? Because you can just target the city, and again, you force them to play defensive. Well, actually, no, they can't play defensive. If they play defense, then they just lose. But like, I mean, I think that is the thing. They just lose because they can't. They don't have enough. They don't have any means of defending cloaks. If you just send them over, you just win. So I would say cloaks are a much cleaner conversion. You are winning anyway. Like, this is just a better position for Omaji. You already have chivalry, and you are able to pressure super well. And Hoodric doesn't have any form of an attack at all. So you're going to effortlessly win. No matter what you do, I just think cloaks would, at least to me, it's the easiest means of conversion. Because you just throw a cloak at their high-level city and they lose. That's it. Whereas with knights, you just have to hope that they chain their units in a bunch. They don't even have that many units to chain in the first place. And then if they do, they have to intentionally, but like versus like defending a cloak, like defending cloaks are very, very difficult. You have to like actively defend versus like defending with knights. You just have to not actively chain your units. I don't know. We do unsiege. We should be attacking with the knights first, or we should attack with a one rider, then knight, then riders. That's more efficient, both damage-wise and also it'll preserve more units that way. Finishing with the knight, not actually good. We do get a nice chain here, and yeah, that's why we'd hit with the rider first. Like, in this case, we probably could have hit with the warrior first, and then the knight hits, and it would survive. Though it wouldn't matter either way. Yeah, it's better to actually just hit the warrior. Though, I don't know why we're sending the warrior up in the first place. We're trying to chain their units. Why would we weaken their units that are already susceptible to being chained? Doesn't really add up to me. Now, Hoodric gets knights. Against Omaji? Would not recommend. I'll just say that. Like, what are you gonna do with knights against Omaji? Like, it's Omaji. They're not spamming archers or catapults. They never get those. Well, they sometimes get archers, but you don't see them getting archers here. So, what's this knight doing? It's a little silly. But yeah, again, we're just gonna win at some point. They make a catapult here, which they can actually somehow do. They're just gonna get chained like crazy. They are making catapults and a point where they already know that. I mean, again, Hoodric's just losing here. They can't do anything at this point because they either don't make catapults and lose to giants, or they make catapults and lose to knights. So it's just a lose-lose situation. And they're choosing to lose by making catapults. But yeah, I'm sure nothing of interest happens at this point. And Chain to the capital. GG. So there were some things right, and then some things less right. Again, farming before roads, I'd say, is usually a telltale sign that it's not extremely high elo. Like, this is definitely not 1600 plus. Because, as I've learned, apparently, even moderately high elo players actually sometimes still get farming before roads, even in, at least to me, transparently obvious situations where, of course, you get roads first here. Like the situation, look at this density. Of course you go roads first. Are you kidding me? You connect for unbelievably, that's 6. Hold on, 1, 2. What? Yeah, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 7 roads, but I think my point still stands. That's dirt cheap. Grand, but that's 21 stars plus the tech price. For a monument, plus 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 population. So it's effectively 15 population. And if you get the roads when you're on 6 cities, that's like, what, 16? Yeah, 16 stars, because it's going to be 2 per city. I guess you can get it before you're on 6 cities even, so it's like 14. And then plus the roads, which... And also they give you movement, like, on top of that. Like, if it doesn't sound efficient enough, like, if somehow you aren't convinced that roads are just the better play here, like, you get the unit movement bonus on top of all that, which is, like, amazing. But yeah, obviously this isn't high elo gameplay. As for how low is it, I mean, there was not anything really stupid. It was really just some macro mistakes and a few micro mistakes. Maybe, like, I might just say 1500 because, you know, it's comparable to some other 1500 games I've seen. But maybe it was better. No, I'll say 1500. Yeah, that's not 1500, that's 1000. How is he even that low elo? It's hope you guys enjoyed. Like and sub. And have a good one.